And finally, Ligon, why is all of this not restrictive, but actually liberating for the conscience? Why is this actually should be kind of a message of freedom for pastors and their people?
Partly, I want to remember, I have no authority over the consciences of my people. Only God has authority over their consciences, and I cannot add or take away from anything that He has said that they are to do. And so I have to be very careful as a pastor that I am not asking them to do in public worship anything that He has not asked them to do in public worship, and that sets them free from me. All I can do is what God told me to tell them to do.
Beyond what is written.
And so that is actually a freeing thing. The other thing that it's so important
restricts us.
It does.
In a helpful way.
Exactly.
In order to liberate the consciences.
The leaders of the people of God cannot just do what they want to do, and they cannot just impose, however spiritually motivated they are, they cannot impose things on the people of God. And that does set the people of God free, but it also sets you free to worship God as He is and not as you have made Him up in your imagination. One of the reasons that coming to God on the terms that He proposes is so important is because how you worship God will determine who the God is that you worship. And if you try to invent your own ways to come to God, you'll end up worshiping something that isn't God. And that was the Reformers' concern.
What you just said is profound, but at this point in the episode, maybe someone missed it. Say that again and explain
how you worship God will determine who the God is that you worship. So you'll have read Greg Beale's book, You Become What You Worship, which is a story of, others have written about this theme, that in the Bible, idolatry, you become like the idol that you worship. So only if you worship the true God will you be what God intended you to be, because you become what you worship. That's true, but it's also true that you become how you worship, because how you worship will determine who you worship. And so if you don't worship according to God's word, you'll end up worshiping what the Reformers and the Puritans called it will worship. You're worshiping your own will. You're worshiping what you want to do rather than worshiping who God is. And so when you come to God by His word, you're assured that you're actually coming to the God who's revealed Himself in the word. And that is a freeing thing. That's not a restraining thing. It frees you up to actually come into the presence of God as He is.
That's good. In another episode, we'll talk even more practically about liturgy, why an order of service is important, how a pastor might think about making big changes in terms of the structure on a Sunday morning, especially if they've inherited some kind of traditions. But we'll wrap it up for this episode. Friends, if you found this episode of The Everyday Pastor helpful, and we hope you have, please share it with a friend, subscribe, help us get the word out, and may God help you find fresh joy in the work of ministry.